of universal peace, Abdul Baha Abbas, the 23rd of April, 1912, talk at Howard University, Washington, D.C. Today I am most happy, for here I see a gathering of servants of God. I see white and black sitting together. There are no whites and blacks before God. All colors are one, and that is the color of servitude to God. Scent and color are not important. The heart is important. If the heart is pure, white or black, or any color, makes no difference. God does not look at colors. He looks at the hearts. Well, God looks at everything, but judges based on things other than what we judge. He whose heart is pure is better. He whose character is better is more pleasing. He who turns more to the Abha kingdom is more advanced. In the realm of existence, colors are of no importance. Observe, in the mineral kingdom, colors are not the cause of discord. In the vegetable kingdom, the colors of the multicolored flowers are not the cause of discord. Rather, colors are the cause of the adornment of the garden, because a single color has no appeal, but when you observe many colored flowers, there is charm and display. The world of humanity, too, is like a garden, and humankind are like the many colored flowers. Therefore, different colored flowers constitute an adornment. In the same way, there are many colors in the realm of animals. Doves are of many colors. Nevertheless, they live in utmost harmony. They never look at color. Instead, they look at the species. How often white doves fly with black ones. In the same way, other birds and very colored animals never look at color. They look at the species. Now ponder this. Animals, despite the fact they lack reason and understanding, do not make colors the cause of conflict. Why should man, why has reason, create conflict? This is wholly unworthy of him. Especially white and black are the descendants of the same Adam. They belong to one household. In origin, they were one. They were the same color. Adam was of one color. Eve had one color. All humanity is descended from them. Therefore, in origin, they are one. These colors develop later in climates and regions. They have no significance whatever. Therefore, today, I am very happy that white and black have gathered together in this meeting. I hope that this coming together and harmony reaches such a degree that no distinctions shall remain between them, and they shall be together in utmost harmony and love. But I wish to say one thing in order that the blacks may become graceful to the whites, and the whites become loving towards the blacks. If you go to Africa and see the blacks of Africa, you will realize how much progress you have made. Praise be to God. You're like the whites. There are no great distinctions left, but the blacks of Africa are treated as servants. The first proclamation of emancipation for the blacks was made by the whites of America. How they fought and sacrificed until they freed the blacks, and it spread to other places. The blacks of Africa were in complete bondage, but your emancipation led to their freedom also. That is, the European states emulated the Americans, and the Emancipation Proclamation became universal. It was for your sake that the whites of America made such an effort. Were it not for this effort, universal emancipation would not have been proclaimed. And my stomach will be free to eat at some point. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can definitely hear it. So, excuse that. There you must be grateful to the whites of America, and the whites must become very loving towards you, so that you may progress in all human grades. Strive jointly to make extraordinary progress and mix together completely. Well, interacting, but people go too far. So well, okay, people do. But should it be, preferred to mix versus not to mix? To that two whites or two blacks can't get married, because that doesn't enforce diversity. Actually, diversity doesn't quite work like that. Or that meritocracy should no longer be the case because you want equal numbers rather than equal treatment. In short, you must be very thankful to the whites, who were the cause of your freedom in America. Well, some of the whites still weren't treating them right. There still wasn't exactly all the same rights. So, had he not been freed, other blacks would not have been freed either. Now, praise be to God, everyone is free and lives in tranquility. I pray that you attain to such a degree of good character and behavior that the names of black and white shall vanish. All shall be called human, just as the name for a flight of doves is dove. They are not called black and white. Likewise with other birds. Well, a lot of this is coming back because it's like, okay, if you're going to describe what a person looks like, but, my generation didn't really have this black culture, white culture, I rapped on the playground just as if just as the people of color, as some people would name it. It's a very good character. How come I'm more like this to other birds? I hope that you will attain to such a high degree, and this is impossible except through love. You must try to create love between yourselves, and this love does not come unless you are grateful to the whites, and the whites are loving towards you, and endeavor to promote your advancement and enhance your honor. Be grateful for what people actually do, but as a race, yeah. Likewise, don't downcast a group that's, statistically worse off. But in America, you could say the blacker they are, the crime rate is lower in actuality, because you're talking about the immigrant population. But people who are born in America could be good too. And endeavor to promote your advancement and enhance your honor. This will be the cause of love. Differences between black and white will be completely obliterated. Indeed, ethnic and national differences will all disappear. Yeah, it's not about your ancestry. It's not about your nationality. There could be benefits to genetic or political alliance, but yeah, don't go around considering yourself superior for any of these things. I'm very happy to see you, and thank God that this meeting is composed of people of both races. Again, they're not using the term white and black aren't races. There's more black races than any other subspecies. The Negroid subspecies has almost half the races, 9 of them, and there's only 19 races. And that both are gathered in perfect love and harmony. I hope this becomes the example of universal harmony and love until no title remains except that of humanity. Such a title demonstrates the perfection of the human world and is the cause of eternal glory and human happiness. I pray that you be with one another in utmost harmony and love, and strive to enable each other to live in comfort. April 23rd, 1912. Dock at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Arthur J. Parsons, 1700 18th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Notes by notes by Joseph H. Hammond. Today I have been speaking from dawn until now, yet because of love, fellowship, and desire to be with you. I have come here to speak again briefly. Within the last few days, a terrible event has happened in the world, an event saddening to every heart and grieving every spirit. I refer to the Titanic disaster, in which many of our fellow human beings were drowned. A number of beautiful souls passed beyond this earthly life. Although such an event is indeed regrettable, we must realize that everything which happens is due to some wisdom, and that nothing happens without a reason. Therein is a mystery. But whatever the reason and mystery, it was a very sad occurrence, in which one brought tears to many eyes and distress to many souls. I was greatly affected by this disaster. Some of those who were lost voyaged on the Cedric with us as far as Naples, and afterwards sailed upon the other ship. When I think of them, I am very sad indeed, but when I consider this calamity in another aspect, I am consoled by the realization that the worlds of God are infinite, and that though they were deprived of this existence, they have other opportunities in the life beyond, even as Christ has said, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." Of course, don't take the Father thing literally. They were called away from the temporary and transferred to the eternal. They abandoned this material existence and entered the portals of the spiritual world. Foregoing the pleasures and comforts of the earthly, they now partake of a joy and happiness far abiding and real, for they have hastened to the kingdom of God. The mercy of God is infinite, and it is our duty to remember these departed souls in our prayers and supplications, that they may draw nearer and nearer to the source itself. These human conditions may be likened to the matrix of the mother, that from which a child is born into the spacious outer world. At first, the infant finds it very difficult to reconcile itself to its new existence. It cries as if not wishing to be separated from its narrow abode, and imagining that life is restricted to that limited space, it is reluctant to leave its home. But nature forces it into this world. Having come into its new conditions, it finds that it has passed from darkness into a sphere of radiance. From the gloomy and restricted surroundings, it has been transferred into a spacious and delightful environment. Its nourishment was the blood of the mother. Now it finds delicious food to enjoy. Its new life is filled with brightness and beauty. It looks with wonder and delight upon the mountains, meadows, and fields of green, the rivers and fountains, the wonderful stars. It breathes the life-quickening atmosphere, and then it praises God for its release from the confinement of its former condition and attainment to the freedom of a new realm. This analogy expresses the relation of the temporal world to the life hereafter. The transition of the soul from man from darkness and uncertainty into light and the reality of the eternal kingdom. At first, it is very difficult to welcome death, but after attaining its new condition, the soul is graceful, for it has been released from the bondage of the limited to enjoy the liberties of the unlimited. It has been freed from a world of sorrow, grief, and trials, to live in a world of unending bliss and joy. The phenomenal and physical have been abandoned in order that they may attain the opportunities of the ideal and spiritual. Therefore, the souls of those who have passed away from earth and complete their span of mortal pilgrimage in the Titanic disaster have been hastened to a world superior to this. They have soared away from these conditions of darkness and dim vision into the into the realm of light. They are only considerations which can comfort and console those whom they have left behind. Well, just because someone's passed away doesn't mean they passed away into good. If there was a lot of arrogance attached with the Titanic, but there must have been good people in there somewhere. Furthermore, these events have deeper reasons. Their object and purpose was to teach man certain lessons. We are living in a day of reliance upon material conditions. Men imagine that the great size and strength of a ship, the perfection of machinery, or the skill of a navigator will ensure safety. But these disasters sometimes take place that men may know that God is the real protector, and if it be the will of God to protect them, a little ship may escape destruction, whereas the greatest and the most perfectly constructed vessel, with the best and most skillful navigator, may not survive a danger such as was present on the ocean. The purpose is that the people of the world may turn to God, the one protector, that human souls may rely upon his preservation and know that he is the real safety. These events happen in order that man's faith may be increased and strengthened. Therefore, although we feel sad and disheartened, we must supplicate God and turn our hearts to the kingdom and pray for these departed souls with faith in his infinite mercy, so that, although they have been deprived of this earthly life, they may enjoy a new existence in the supreme mansions of the Heavenly Father. Again, there's Paramatma is a more appropriate name of God than Heavenly Father, but Heavenly Provider, Abiyinu. But don't pray that you have a good influence in this life, that maybe people are upon the best consciousness and actions that's available to them. Waiting till after they die and trying to intercede on their behalf, don't try to intercede on behalf of those who you know were failures or appeared to have been failures. Because whether you ask forgiveness for them 70 times, 100 times, whatever, it would have been better that they had a little bit more good on their side. Let no one imagine that these words imply that man should not be thorough and careful in his undertakings. God has endowed man with intelligence so that he may safeguard and protect himself. Therefore he must provide and surround himself with all that scientific skill can produce. So it's not just about spiritual enlightenment, it's about temporal enlightenment too. He must be deliberate, thoughtful, and thorough in his process and his purposes. Build the best ship and provide the most experienced captain. Yet withal let him rely upon God and consider God as the one keeper that God protects. Nothing can imperil men's safety, and if it be not his will to safeguard, no amount of preparation and precaution will avail. Also, on the 23rd of April, 1912, talk at Bethel Literary Society, Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church, M Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. Notes by Joseph H. Hannon. As I stand here tonight and look upon this assembly, I am reminded curiously of a beautiful bouquet of violets gathered together in varying colors, dark and light. This is an evidence and indication that the United States of America is a just and free government. So I'm guessing he was very approving of the Nazis, because the Nazis had a better aesthetic to them. For I see black and white, seated together in perfect harmony and agreement. Hearts are united. This just government makes such a meeting possible. Really? In the teens? The Dangerous Drug Act and some other acts like that didn't write prejudice into the law, but they targeted drugs. One, for the companies to make more money. It wasn't a safety thing. Two, they went after, the drug laws went after types of drugs that the blacks and the Hispanics were more likely to use. This just government makes such a meeting possible. You should thank God continually that you enjoy the security and protection of a government which furthers your development and rules with impartial equity and equality towards all. Even a father for the human world, there is no greater blessing. This evening I will speak to you upon scientific subjects. Well, after the corporate prison system got involved, things got worse, but the virtues of humanity are many, but science is the most noble of them all. Well, I wouldn't say that, but science is essential. The distinction which man enjoys above all and beyond the station of the animal is due to this paramount virtue. It is a bestowal of God. It is not material. It is divine. Science is an effulgence of the sun of reality, the power of investigating and discovering the varieties of the universe, the means by which man finds a pathway to God. All the powers and attributes of man are human and hereditary in origin, outcomes of nature's processes, except the intellect, which is supernatural through intellectual and intelligent inquiry. Science is the discoverer of all things. It unites present and past, reveals the history of bygone nations and events, and confers upon man today the essence of all human knowledge and attainment throughout the ages. By intellectual processes and logical deductions of reason, this superpower in man can penetrate the mysteries of the future and anticipate its happenings. Science is the first emanation from God towards man. Knowledge, then wisdom, right? All created beings embody the potential of material perfection, but the power of intellectual investigation and scientific acquisition is a higher virtue specialized to man alone. Other beings and organisms are deprived of this potentiality and attainment. God has created or deposited this love of reality in man. The development and progress of a nation is according to the measure and degree of that nation's scientific attainments. Well, actually, the degree of their spiritual attainments is a better measure because, your ethical, what are you going to do with what knowledge you have? Through this means, its greatness is continually increased, and day by day the welfare and prosperity of its people are assured. All blessings are divine in origin, but none can be compared with the power of intellectual investigation and research, which is an eternal gift producing fruits of unending delight. Man is ever partaking of these fruits. All other blessings are temporary. This is an everlasting possession. Every sovereignty has its limitations and overthrow. This is a kingship and dominion which none may usurp or destroy. Briefly, it is an eternal blessing and divine bestowal, the supreme gift of God to man. Therefore, you should put forward your most earnest efforts towards the acquisition of science and arts. The greater your attainment, the higher your standard in the divine purpose. The man of science is perceiving and endowed with vision, whereas he who is ignorant and neglectful of this development is blind. The investigating mind is attentive, alive. The callous and indifferent mind is deaf and dead. A scientific man is a true index and representative of humanity, for through processes of inductive reasoning and research, he is informed of all that appertains to humanity, its status, conditions, and happenings. He studies the human body politic, understands social problems, and weaves the web and texture of civilization. In fact, science may be likened to a mirror wherein the infinite forms and images of existing things are revealed and reflected. It is the very foundation of all individual and national development. Without this basis of investigation, development is impossible. Therefore, seek with diligent endeavor the knowledge and attainment of all that lies within the power of this wonderful bestowal. We have already stated that the science are the attribute of scientific penetration is supernatural, and that all other blessings of God are within the boundary of nature. What is the proof of this? All created things except man are captives of nature. The stars and the suns, swinging through infinite space, all earthly forms of life and existence, whether mineral, vegetable, or animal, come under the dominion and control of natural law. Man, through scientific knowledge and power, rules nature and utilizes her laws to do his bidding according to the natural limits. He is a creature of earth, restricted to life upon its surface, but through scientific utilization of material laws, he soars in the sky, sails upon the oceans, and dies